We often think about sexual attraction as this wild, untamed thing, a pure biological impulse.
Right.
We slap the label primal urge on it, chalk it up to pure physical chemistry, and then we assume that's the end of the psychological story.
And that's precisely where we stop short of really understanding ourselves. When you limit desire to just, physical mechanics, you miss this incredible opportunity for self-discovery.
Okay, so what's the opportunity?
Because the truth is, what truly arouses you it's a profound indicator of your emotional architecture, your deepest needs, and the unique pressure points of your personality.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. Your sexual preferences, your fantasies, they aren't just entertainment.
No.
They are a highly sophisticated language,
Right.
and they're constantly trying to communicate something essential about your stress levels, your need for control, or, your craving for vulnerability.
They hold up a mirror to the inner landscape of your mind.
A mirror. I like that.
So today, our mission is to become decoders of that language. We're going to destigmatize these topics and really dive into the sources to understand what the mind is really asking for when it expresses desire.
Beyond just the physical act itself.
Way beyond the physical act. It's a shortcut to understanding the complex relationship between lust and psyche.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's begin with one of the most studied and perhaps most misunderstood dynamics, BDSM.
Bondage and discipline, sadism and masochism.
Exactly. And the core of it is a consensual, structured power exchange.
And the scale of this experience it's often surprising to people. It's not some niche corner of human behavior.
Not at all.
The data suggests that this structure, this power exchange dynamic, is widely fascinating. In some large-scale surveys, well over 74% of respondents chose BDSM as their favorite fetish or fantasy.
74%. That's a massive slice of the population engaging with these concepts.
It is.
And the psychological choice between the dominant or the submissive role is profoundly revealing. Let's look at the submissive role first, okay? A strong preference for submission often signals a deep craving for emotional release and, crucially, a temporary loss of control.
And that's specifically a mechanism to relieve chronic stress and pressure.
That's the key.
This is the counterintuitive nugget that always stops me. The person in the submissive role isn't necessarily like a natural follower in their daily life.
Quite the opposite, often. The research, and this is backed up by a lot of clinical observation, suggests that it is often people in highly demanding, higher power, stressful positions of authority.
The CEOs, the managers, the hyper-responsible parents.
Precisely.
Why?
Because these are the individuals whose lives are defined by constant decision-making and responsibility. Submission offers them a temporary, sanctioned vacation from their own minds.
The vacation from their own mind. That's a great way to put it.
For a defined period, someone else takes the wheel, and they are completely free from the burden of leadership. It's psychological rest masquerading as sex play.
So that reframes submission not as weakness, but as a strategic form of self-care for an overburdened mind.
It is. And furthermore, submission can be linked to anxiety around sex itself.
How so?
Well, if a person feels immense pressure to perform or to initiate, ceding control to a dominant partner just removes that performance anxiety entirely.
Right, it takes the pressure off.
It allows them to feel intensely vulnerable and, most importantly, intensely desired, because their only job is to receive.
And that ties right back to established psychological profiles, doesn't it? Specifically, the idea of an anxious attachment style.
Does, yeah.
Someone who is, anxious, preoccupied in relationships often needs that constant reassurance. So that need to feel intensely vulnerable and desired during sex is a direct reflection of needing absolute certainty of connection.
Precisely. Now, if we flip the switch to the dominant role, the conventional narrative often assumes dominance is driven by compensation.
Right, that a person feels powerless in their work or their school life, and so they need to assert control in the bedroom to, make up for it.
But the data tells a more nuanced story, which is why we have to avoid these sweeping generalizations. The personality assessments in one significant study revealed that those who identified as dominant actually reported higher subjective well-being.
Higher
well-being and lower rejection sensitivity compared to both submissives and the general population.
Wow.
What's fascinating here is that the dominants also scored lower in key negative personality markers. They scored lower in both agreeableness and neuroticism.
So what does that mean in this context?
Well, if we contextualize that, low neuroticism means the preference for dominance wasn't driven by high anxiety or emotional volatility. Instead, for many, dominance is simply an expression of stable self-possession and high internal confidence. It's not a reaction to trauma or a lack of power.
So the data suggests that. While compensation definitely happens for some people, for a significant number, dominance is less about making up for something and more about confidently expressing an inherent personality trait.
A trait of leadership and stable authority.
Yeah.
It forces us to ask, if BDSM is often an expression of high confidence for the dominant and a release of burden for the submissive, why did traditional psychology always assume it stemmed from some deep-seated pathology?
We were probably just projecting cultural biases onto it.
We might have been. Projecting onto what is actually a really sophisticated psychological negotiation of power and rest.
That is a deep thought. Okay, so BDSM shows us that power dynamics are central, but some desires express power and intimacy in far more subtle, highly focused ways. Let's shift to a preference that often carries a heavy stigma but is surprisingly common. Foot fantasies.
Yes, the perception is that being aroused by feet seems, I don't know, niche or even deviant.
Right.
But the prevalence is truly astonishing. Large-scale surveys of thousands of individuals revealed that 1 in 7 people, a full 14%, report having a foot fetish or fantasy.
1 in 7. That should immediately put the idea of taboo into perspective.
It really should. It's an experience shared by millions.
So if we strip away the shock factor, what is the foot really symbolizing psychologically?
It performs a dual symbolism, actually, much like the roles in BDSM. The foot serves as a kind of stage for a power exchange.
Okay, a stage.
If someone is aroused by their feet being worshipped or kissed or played with, it provides this acute sense of power and elevated status over the person performing the act.
So it's about the feeling of being worshipped that triggers the arousal, not just the anatomy itself.
Exactly. The foot itself is less the object of desire and more the highly specific focus point for that power dynamic.
And I'm guessing this connects back to attachment styles as well.
Profoundly. It offers distinct psychological rewards depending on who you are. For those with an anxious, preoccupied attachment style, focusing on a partner's feet might be a highly concentrated, almost ritualistic way of showing devotion and closeness.
Without the intensity of, say, prolonged eye contact.
Yes, exactly. And now think of the avoidant types.
Right. They crave intimacy, but can often find it suffocating when it gets too close.
This is where the focused nature of the fetish becomes a psychological tool. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, focusing on feet can offer a feeling of intimacy without the overwhelming nature of overt sexual acts that demand high emotional output.
It provides a structured, safe boundary.
A clear focus point that allows connection without emotional engulfment. The intimacy is present, but it's managed.
Managed intimacy. I love that. It fulfills the need for connection while respecting the personal space an avoidant person requires. The important takeaway here, and we really need to stress this, is that having these preferences is just part of your psychological tapestry. It's like one researcher concluded. Fetishes don't mean you have a mental problem or that you're incapable of having healthy relationships.
They are just highly specific preference points. They are clues, really, demanding to be solved, and we're still only scratching the surface of what the mind requires.
Now let's talk about stepping not just to a new focus point, but entirely into a new character. Roleplay. Cosplay in the bedroom.
This is perhaps the clearest psychological indicator of seeking a profound escape.
An escape.
Yeah. If you strongly gravitate toward roleplay, it almost universally suggests you are looking for a definitive break, a distraction from the emotional grind of your regular day-to-day life.
The power of the mask is tremendous here, isn't it? I read one clinical psychologist who talks about the genius of roleplay is that it's an opportunity to escape our own reality by formally labeling it as an escape.
That labeling is the crucial piece. It gives you psychological permission.
Permission to be radically different.
Yes. The structured game allows you to act, speak, feel, and think in a way that may be dramatically different from your true self. You get to try on a new personality without consequence.
Like testing out a suppressed side of your psyche.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Why do you need that escape? It often points to a need for a complete break from extreme stress or anxiety. Or sometimes it's simply an escape from chronic, persistent boredom.
Your desire is basically telling you your baseline reality needs a breather. It needs a dose of novelty or a temporary rebalancing of your emotional ledger.
And if we dig into the types of roles people prefer, the meaning gets even deeper, right?
Oh, absolutely. Someone who is meek in their daily life and seeks a dominant, aggressive role might be signaling a suppressed need for power.
Maybe at work.
Maybe at work, yeah. Conversely, someone who is constantly in charge and seeks a role based on innocence or vulnerability might be revealing a profound desire to just be protected, to be taken care of.
To shed the burden of being the strong one for a little while.
Exactly. The desired role is often the antithesis of your daily psychological state. It's not just about being someone else. It's about expressing the unexpressed side of yourself.
It's a healthy way to balance the psychological ledger.
And that boundary setting is what makes it healthy. Provided, of course, that it is consensual and that the pursuit of this escapism doesn't interfere with the essential parts of your life.
Of course.
Using role play as a controlled, temporary escape valve is often a sign of high emotional intelligence. It allows you to manage reality better by taking these little mental vacations.
The ultimate psychological pressure release. A formalized moment to be someone you wish you had the energy or permission to be during the week.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the message is undeniable. Lust is a complex psychological language.
It really is.
By looking at dynamics like BDSM, the focused nature of foot fantasies, and the freedom in role play, we are decoding essential human needs. Needs related to control, vulnerability, and escapism.
Our sexual desires are always trying to tell us something deeper about ourselves.
There are clues demanding to be solved.
We might think we crave the physical act itself, but what we're truly craving is the underlying psychological reward.
The total release of control, the sense of being intensely desired, or the complete liberating freedom from our own stress and anxiety.
Our desires often reflect not what we have, but what we are truly missing in our daily lives.
Be it rest, power, simple safety, or profound manageable connection. So a final thought for you to ponder. What is the core non-sexual need that your most surprising preference is actually attempting to fulfill?